This isn't just another podcast. We're crushing the taboos and we're rewriting the rules. It's the space where we normalize women becoming wealthy. If you're done playing small and ready to become the CEO of your life and the architect of your future, then my girl, you're in the right room. Welcome to your wealthy era. Welcome to the Wealthy CEO podcast.
What if you could set up yourself or even your child for millionaire status before their first birthday? Today, I'm talking with Donny Mangos, the wealth strategist behind the Money Mansion framework, who teaches individuals and families how to build generational wealth that outlives them while legally paying less in tax. If you've ever thought wealth building was only for the rich, this episode will change everything you believe about money. Welcome back to the Wealthy CEO podcast. And today, Donny, you are joining me in studio. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Shay. Pleasure to be here.
I am so excited to have this conversation because it's one that I don't think a lot of people dive into. And as a new mom still of a 7-month-old, I want to bring in the business component, but like wealth building, generational wealth building for families, whether you're an individual or if you have kids. And so I thought, let's get a little personal. I'm inviting people basically into my living room with you here to have water, have coffee, and just really dive into how can we build a better future, not just for myself, but for my daughter and then her children. And this is like where we get into how to really actually build legacy and building the fancy word that so many people throw around, but I don't think they really grasp the meaning of generational wealth. So I am so excited to have you here.
I love talking about this. So I too am excited to be here and chat with you about this, Shay.
Well, I feel like we could probably go Joe Rogan, but we'll probably, and maybe it might have to be a part 2. We'll see kind of how
Sure.
it goes. But
You got it.
you know, I think one of the biggest misconceptions that so many people have is that wealth is reserved for the upper class only and for the rich. And it's why most people stay in the average class, right? In the middle class.
Yep.
And I'm hoping, my hope for this episode is that we'll be reaching people today where they will hear this conversation and it'll help them start to change the way they think about money and also beyond their own life, which will ultimately change their lives forever.
Everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. And their kids and their kids' kids and all that for sure. Because I mean, there's lessons throughout this, Shay, that, you know, the things we'll talk about today are the things that I wish I had been talked to about
Sure.
by my dad.
Yeah.
And I wish someone had passed information to him and like, it would have been a very different scenario it would have been a very different life.
Yeah.
It would have been an easier life now for my parents into their retirement years and things like that. And then they would have felt more proud about what they were able to do for their kids and vice versa. So yes, it's certainly timely and it's timeless, the chat we're going to have.
So true.
Yeah.
So as we dive in, walk us through, because I love learning about people's journeys and also I think giving context and perspective. You shared with me before coming on to the show today that you're Greek. You just talked about your father. Yeah. And so I'm thinking, like, your parents, did they come over to Canada? Are they immigrants to the country?
Yep, they were. So my dad was a kid. Actually, my parents are both kids, but they did meet here.
Okay.
With nothing in their pockets.
Right.
They both had super poor upbringings. Just living in farms and rural areas in Greece. That was their life. So to them, everything is a bonus right now. Right. It's just a very different perspective. But what my kids are experiencing is very different than what they experienced. And so that's kind of lost in translation over the years. So we had humble beginnings for sure.
Yeah.
And education is the way out.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, like, they did the best they could, but they worked hard. They didn't work smart.
Right.
And it's in the generation that followed us, that we decided to work smart.
Right.
And now it's up to us to convey that to our kids so they know what working smart looks like. So they don't have to work like my dad, double shifts, 3 shifts.
Right.
You know, never seeing the kids because he's too busy washing dishes somewhere. Yeah. And all that stuff. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So
So you're not the age of Warren Buffett, who's arguably one of the world's greatest, most well-known investors,
right.
who's old. He's an old dude. You're young. And so when did you have your aha moment from looking at the life that your parents built for you, seeing how your dad provided? Mm-hmm. And did you ever have this moment where you're like, I think this could be done better? And where did your path start?
Certainly. So the more profound of the moments, honestly, was when I was working. Like I was a guy working a full-time job in an office building downtown. And this really affected me. So I would do the same thing every Monday morning, Tuesday morning, grab a coffee on the walk from my condo to the office. Same thing, floor 14 on the button, let's go. Walk past the same department, second department on the way to my chair.
Yep.
And like you can press rewind and replay over and over again because that's kind of what life was like back then.
Groundhog Day.
Brutal, right? Some people love it. I don't understand it, but that's not for me. So for me, one day I did the same thing. It was like a regular day, like every other day. I bought a coffee. I walked to the office. I push 14. I get off, and it's crickets.
Wow.
There is not a single person in this department there.
Oh.
Everyone just got canned.
Wow. Like fired.
Fired.
Wow.
Like they must have showed up in the morning and then they were told to leave and I missed it all and nobody was there.
Were you late?
Maybe I was late. It could have been a rough night. It could have been a rough night. So I roll in and there's nobody there. And I remember that I would always see this one, he was an older dude and he was sitting at his desk in his cubicle, probably mid 50s. And this was, I could probably say the name of the company because it won't really matter, but it was an insurance company back in the day. And so to date myself, you called me young. You're probably, I'm not that young, but anyway,
you don't look old. So
thank you. His job was filling in forms on carbon copy. Remember that? Press hard. Remember those days? Yeah. So that's what he would do.
That was the slogan: sign here, press hard. I'm in real estate 16 years plus. Okay. So
that's what it was. Yeah. So this guy is doing this for an insurance company in an age when computers existed. Like it was inevitable that your job was going to be pulled away from you because you're no longer relevant, right?
Right.
So he lost his job. This guy who pushed like ink onto paper and pressed hard.
Yeah.
That's what he did.
Wow.
Who's going to hire that guy now?
Right.
In his mid 50s. Like he's probably thinking like, I'm going to coast for the next 10 years.
Right.
Then I'm done.
Yeah.
And that I'm sure that wasn't his future. So in that moment, I don't get anxiety. I just don't. I don't have highs and lows, Shay. But in that moment, I felt panic.
Wow.
Like it's not even my life.
Right.
It's like there's no way I'm ever going to give anybody else that kind of control over my life and how I feel about myself and my confidence because that guy is probably shattered.
Yeah.
So I'm like, never going to happen. And so that was a big change for me. And that's when I became an entrepreneur, really.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. And so from there, like you've worn a couple of hats.
Yes.
And they're all intertwining.
They are.
Right? Like from being a real estate investor, wealth consultant, you're in insurance.
Yep.
And this is one of the most exciting pieces, I think, because when people hear insurance, they just think insurance for your car, insurance for your house, and like maybe like a basic life insurance, if they're even thinking that way. So many people do not have life insurance just on a basic level.
Because no one wants to think about it or talk about it because you're just trying to sell me something.
Right.
Yeah. That's where our mind goes. And that's not where we're going to go.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah. And so one of the things, when I think about building a generational wealth time machine, if you kind of will, and I said, why don't I wanted to get really raw and real for people today. And so that comes with life examples. I wanted to use my daughter. She's 7 months years old. And before she was born, I called, and as I'm sure you do too, being in similar fields and have been in the same field as me, we've always have a Rolodex of people. There's not just one insurance broker, not just one mortgage broker, right? Like you've got your people. Totally. And so before my daughter was born, I called up one of my insurance brokers and said, I need like whole life insurance. I need critical insurance. And like, these are words that probably some people don't even know exist, that these policies are there. But before she was born, I was already thinking about how can I not just protect her, but how can I make her money? And so I want to use my daughter Koa today as an example. And you guys listening are, Donny has brought some actual real data, some strategies, but also looking at some real numbers to dive into. So I wanted to ask you, like, on a first, like, if we were to set her up today for financial freedom and legacy to build wealth for decades from now, what are the exact steps that you would recommend that I take in the next 12 months to start that process to happen?
Education has to happen first. Mm-hmm. I think it's important that you understand what options you have, what's happening, what are the forces working against you.
Sure.
So that you know what to combat.
Yeah.
Ultimately, it's not, insurance is a big part of the contract that I use to create the solutions, but it's an asset class. It's not necessarily a death benefit that I'm trying to like communicate in helping you build for her future. So it's a long answer, but it starts with education. So we'll spend, if you're okay with this, I'll spend some time on educating it. Like, okay, right. So
and break down even it. I'm sure this might come up in your answer, but even already, like I can hear people going, how is insurance an asset class?
Yeah. So I think we'll just even drop insurance from the even discussion. Like just, you know what, because it doesn't really matter. I think it's a matter, like, what's really important is transitional wealth, generational wealth. How do we take care of our kids, set them up? Okay. So what's happening right now? Let's look at, there's two forces that are really hurting us. You mentioned the middle class, and the middle class is actually going backwards right now.
Correct.
The gap's getting larger between upper class and lower class, and the middle class is being squeezed backwards because of these forces. So you've got, okay, we're in Canada, and I'm sure much of your audience is in Canada.
Yeah, Canada, the United States.
Okay, the United States is, but you guys, those Americans are not immune to this either. Income tax. So we're kind of getting rocked on income tax.
Sure.
So on the personal side, if you do well in Canada at the moment, in Ontario, if you make over 235 grand or 240 grand per year, you're personally paying 53.53% of whatever you make in taxes.
Correct.
You get to keep, you're lucky enough to keep 46 point whatever change.
Yeah.
That's a big problem. So tax is a big drain on the wealth. So this is happening to everything that we do to bring in the money that we're going to try and use to build wealth with.
Right.
Okay. So we live in this world where you go out, and Koa's going to go out at some point and she's going to earn.
Yeah.
We all do this. We go earn, and then we've got to pay income tax based on what that amount was. So we started with this big pile. Then we got to pay income tax. Then she'll have life expenses like we do.
Yeah.
Mortgage, car, whatever, travel, all that stuff. And then you're left with this little amount at the end called saving. And then we're talking right now about basically that last part.
Right.
We're trying, how do we build wealth for her?
Right.
So we're focusing on the small number. And that small number, when we have it, we're trying to find rates of return. We're trying to invest to find big rates of return to apply to the small number to hopefully turn into a big number together.
Right.
Which is a difficult task, and you need a lot of time to do that. But that's kind of how we do it. So you have a small number now, and you bring it over here and you put it into a new investment. And that investment, you hope that it's going to go up in value.
Right.
So you start here, it goes up. Fantastic. Shay, what happens when you finally want to sell that investment?
Well, I mean, it could be time.
But what happens? So you press sell. Now this number let's use actual fake numbers here.
Sure.
Actual fake, isn't that great? So you start, let's say you have 10 grand on this paycheck.
Sure.
10 grand comes in and you got to pay 4,000 in income tax. You pay mortgage, your car, groceries, daycare.
Right.
You're left with $1,000.
Okay.
You got $1,000 for yourself. And this is not even for Koa. This is like you and I.
Yeah. You
got $1,000 left over, and you try and chase a rate of return of 8%, 10%, and you put it over here and try and make that number big. So $1,000 is out earning 10% a year.
Sure. It's
going to generate money. So after a year, $1,000 becomes 1,100.
Right.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Next year, 1,100 times 10% is 121. Now you're at 1,221, and so on and so on and so on. It's not a lot of money, but it's growing. So 1,000. Let's hope everything works out. There's no down years. $1,000 becomes $20,000.
Right.
20 grand. The government says
capital gains.
Exactly. Guess what? You invested money. you use the last part that you had after you pay taxes and you put it into something, and whatever that's going to grow to, I want access to that too.
Right.
And so you're not going to make 20. You're going to make a percentage of that 20 because they're going to share in that growth.
Right.
So I have a problem with that.
Yeah.
Okay. Fundamentally, I have a problem with that.
Yeah.
Here's the other part of this that I have a problem with. So inflation. Okay. It's a buzzword right now for sure. We're all monitoring it, whatever. The government's printing money like mad. And as they're doing that, it's devaluing the dollars we do have.
Right.
There's just more money out there. It means that what I could have bought for $10 now costs me 12 because you paid us so much money.
Yep.
So, okay. Why did that $1,000 investment grow to $20,000? Maybe the investment itself did well and like it created value in some way or whatever, but maybe a lot of that growth came from inflation.
Right.
What I could have bought for $1,000 in the 80s is now $20,000.
Sure.
So I didn't even make any money really. Inflation moved it from here to there.
Right.
And I have to pay tax
on that,
on the inflation.
Right.
So that is how, we're all subject to this. We're all not immune to those forces. So when you look at your bank statements or your investment statements, you're like, I think I'm doing all right. I'm up 20%.
Right.
You're not.
Yeah.
Because your inflation did that. So what you could have bought back when you made that investment, can't buy that anymore.
Right.
You shopped for a car recently?
No, 2023.
Okay.
Yeah.
In 2020, what you could have, let's say before COVID, what you could have bought.
Yeah.
And in 2023, 2024, that price is very different.
Correct.
So,
and I did both those actually.
Okay. So then it should be, so it's real.
Yeah.
The number that you paid is very different. Inflation played a big role in that.
Right.
So
inflation and also rates too.
And also rates.
Yeah.
But all this to say, we think we're making money. Scotiabank, you're richer than you think.
Yeah.
And I keep saying, you're not. Like I don't want to have to tell you this because it's not fun, but you're not. The way we're doing it, you're not richer than you think. No. In fact, all you're doing is you're increasing your balance sheet number. It's not real numbers. You can't buy what you could have bought for that anymore. So, but as it's going up, it's all taxable at all times. And I hate that.
Yeah.
I hate that. So COA.
Yes.
My kids, your kid, they're going to see so much taxes in their life, it's going to erode their wealth.
Yeah.
We have to find a way to understand that so we can counter that and say, taxes is a big part of this. How do I just create an environment where I'm not paying so much tax?
Right.
And that's why the contracts we're talking about today, which are life insurance contracts, they have, if designed properly, if executed properly, there are provisions that help you grow that wealth without tax exposure.
Right.
That's important.
And this is what the wealthy families do, right? To not only preserve, but to grow wealth within these legal, this isn't tax evasion.
No, I'm not.
This is these are legal structures that allow you to not just preserve wealth, but actually grow wealth within those containers. And this is actually a perfect segue because one of the things, of course, I wanted to ask you is what are the most overlooked tax strategies that the average family is overlooking that they could start to legally implement to reduce or even eliminate tax?
So there's if you're an entrepreneur, if you run a small business, which I believe a lot of your audience probably does.
Yep.
So personal tax rates, they're very punitive. We just discussed this. It's expensive.
Yeah.
If there is an opportunity for you to do what you do and earn that revenue within a corporation rather than yourself, there's significant tax savings. There's significant planning you can do using that structure. So what can you do? Can you operate the same way under a corporation? If so, you should really investigate whether this is the right thing for you.
Right.
Please call me. I'll help you figure this out. But there's significant benefits to creating a corporation if you're a small business owner. If you're a T4, if you're a regular employee and you're just, sorry, Americans, I say T4 because I'm Canadian, but if you are a regular employee, you don't have that option. A lot of times you have to get paid directly. So tax is a big thing. And that's the wealthy figure out ways to use corporations and corporate structure and trusts to shelter, to prevent taxation. Because plugging that hole gives you a lot more access to growth opportunities because you've got more to use because you stop spending so much on tax.
Yeah.
Like Warren Buffett famously says, like he doesn't pay any taxes.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Because he doesn't, it's all through corporations.
Yeah. Yeah. Same thing with Trump.
Same thing with Trump, right?
Yeah. A lot of Robert Kiyosaki, he talks about that all the time.
Yes.
Loves debt, doesn't pay taxes. I mean, I love him. He's been a mentor of mine for, 15 years.
Right.
At least.
And what he said still holds true, like all that. So his lesson, 100%. I grew up thinking debt was bad.
Right.
Don't borrow money from people.
Right.
If you do, you got to pay them back right away.
Yep.
And today I'm saying, are you crazy for paying your mortgage off right now?
Right.
Why would you pay your mortgage off? Right. You have access to money to help you build money. Mm-hmm. You have access to deductions you can make because of so get comfortable with debt.
Yeah.
I talk about that, Shay, in the book as well. Like get comfortable with that. You have to understand how to use it. Don't go borrow money to go to Vegas and blow the weekend. It's not going to happen. Yeah. But using debt properly is the key to unlocking a lot of growth.
A lot of reframing, like I talk about this a lot myself, and especially for women, because I think women are not as risk takers as men are. We're built differently in our DNA. Like you're a protector and provider. Naturally, you're built with more risk than a woman is. That's just your role. And so women, I think, oftentimes have an adverse reaction when they hear the word debt. It can be very scary. And there is a difference between good debt and bad debt. Bad debt, like credit card debt, pulling out an LOC to go to Vegas, like a line of credit, versus taking that line of credit to do a renovation, to do an improvement, to make more money cash flowing on an income producing asset. Very different, right? That's a quick difference between good debt, bad debt. And instead of thinking of it as debt, I try to reframe for people to start thinking of it as leverage. Bad debt is bad debt, but good debt is leverage.
Right.
And when you start thinking about it in that way, it becomes a little more approachable, less scary, in some ways exciting, because you're like, oh, I can leverage somebody else's money. And that feels more empowering than taking on debt when you're taking on leverage.
Words have power. And so that's what people, once they understand it as debt, that 4-letter word, they just like when they hear insurance, they just shut down. They don't want to hear anymore because I was trained to know that debt was bad and I shouldn't be doing this.
Right.
Yeah. But it's not, it's I can go at length of this. I won't, but leverage is the key to unlocking that growth.
Yeah.
It's the key to beating inflation. It's the key to avoiding taxation.
Yeah.
Legally. So, but it's hard to communicate that. It's hard to communicate in an episode. It's hard to communicate in an essay or a book. You just have to really go down a rabbit hole and understand what you just said, Kiyosaki, good debt. Yeah. Understanding what leverage means and how it can, when used strategically, could really be part of an amazing strategy.
So would you have a recommendation, like you just brought up, corporations is a good tax structure that people oftentimes are overlooking. Like if you're a sole proprietor, right? Like if you have a small business owner, that you should be opening up a corporation. Is there another simple one that comes to mind as a tax advantage strategy? So
I sure you can tell tax plays a big role in my mind in how I feel about losing grip of my money. Yeah. So sticking on that, because it is a tax thing for me. I did a content creator session. We're talking about money as well, and they're very similar to them. A lot of them don't have corporations set up, so they're missing that opportunity. If it's right for them, of course, it's very personal. Second one would be deductions. What do you know that you can reduce what you say you owe or you made this year if what you spent was used to acquire a business? Yeah. Are you properly managing? Are you figuring this out? Are you documenting? Are you making sure that your ride to the studio was a work ride? Yeah. Because you can write off certain things, right? So you just gotta, how write-offs work is you have an income, it's $100,000, and then you have expenses to build that income. Yeah. Got to go see a client, got to have lunch or whatever, take them to the show, send them something. All those things should be reducing what you said you earned that year. And then you won't be taxed on that kind of stuff. So just being mindful of playing by the rules like that. How do I figure out how to save money? Yeah. That's one way. Investing. Okay. We can go another topic on investing. Yeah. I have another. So I generally feel investing, you need to have a little bit of thicker skin. You've got to be able to absorb the ups and downs.
Sure.
If you don't have that kind of personality, it's really hard to make investing make sense.
Yeah.
And
when you say that, are you talking about in real estate, in the stock market, in crypto, in policies like in insurance, or
for sure,
all of it?
Insurance to me is not at all an investment. So we'll pull that back. But everything else, like, are you in crypto at all?
A little bit.
Okay.
A little bit. And truthfully, I'll be honest, like it is, especially now with what just happened in the States with Trump passing the federal bill, I am dedicating more hours per week to like dive into this because it's going to change the trajectory. But I'm like one of those type of investors that if I don't understand it, which I think is anything really in life, if you don't understand it, you're not going to want to give money to it. You're not going to want to invest in it because you don't understand it.
Totally.
So it has been a very complicated thing for my brain to get wrapped around between like the wallets and then the ledger and like you've got to have this app is better than that app and the cold storage. It's like, oh my God, this is not as simple.
No, it really isn't.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like reading Chinese and trying to like translate it.
Give me pictures, please. I have no idea.
Literally.
Yeah. So it is that. Everything you said, Shay, is entirely true.
Yeah.
And then when the actual value of the thing you're doing that's for, man, it just balloons and it plummets so frequently. So that you got to be a special kind of person.
100%.
So you totally are cool with this. And I love watching it. I love the possibilities for it. So I understand it as well. It is not for everybody.
No, it's not.
But there's different risk profiles. So oftentimes we'll do this. I would sit down with somebody and say, what do you want to achieve? Yeah. Like what would you lose sleep over? Mm-hmm. If the market tanks tomorrow, because it could.
Yeah.
10%. We saw this when the tariff announcements were going back and forth.
100%. Yeah.
How could you survive?
Yeah.
Are you gonna be up all night worrying about this?
Yeah.
Okay. So maybe your risk threshold's a bit lower.
Yeah.
So there are different opportunities for that. But in general, not insurance.
Yeah.
But in general, you go high risk, high reward is kind of what you think, and low risk, low reward.
Yeah.
So the more crypto, for example, if you've been in it long enough, you would see that the numbers
have gone up.
Massive, right?
Yeah, huge.
But tons of risk.
Yeah.
Because no one knows what this thing is doing.
No.
And then you look at something else. Like real estate has been doing well for a number of years because ultimately, like, where's the risk? People need houses.
Yep.
As long as there's population incoming into the neighborhood you're buying, as long as there's demand there, as long as the government's pretty stable, like all these things you can look at and say, I'm going to minimize all this risk. Okay, there might be a dip, but for the most part, you feel good about the investment on the whole.
Yeah.
So you have to consider all these scenarios. Investing is not a bad idea. It's just a matter of it's got to fit who you are when you do that. So options, real estate's big. Like we've both been doing this for a number of years. Like, and right now it's been a tough market for investors and property owners.
There is, but there's down markets always create opportunities.
Certainly.
And for me, that's like a mindset of the investor, right? Like there are really unique opportunities right now. And a lot of them, I'll be honest, are not in Canada. Like when things are going up here, and like a lot of people that follow me on Instagram know I have properties in Costa Rica. I purchased in Mexico last year, pre-construction, which is also slightly risky because like, COVID happened, pre-construction in Mexico stopped, and like you kind of don't know. But if you're able to see the trends in the market, and like, again, you build that stamina. And for me, I have a high risk tolerance in real estate just because it's been my bread and butter forever and I grew up in it. So I understand it like inside and out.
Yep.
But there's opportunities where my dollar has been able to extend further in this down market outside of Canada, and now also earning in USD, appreciating in USD.
Yep.
So as this government continues to print money and the Canadian dollar continues to depreciate, at least I'm going, okay, thank God I moved money outside of this country.
I feel good about Mexico as well, just in general.
Yeah.
Because a lot of Canadians are sort of phobic right now when it comes to traveling to the States.
Yeah.
So snowbirds would be in Arizona and be in Florida.
Yeah.
And a lot of them now are considering what's not American.
Right.
And Mexico is not American, last I checked, right? So there's a lot of, and it's tons of infrastructure, tons of flights, so you can get in and out pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And your money goes further.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of capital moving that direction.
Correct.
For the reasons you just mentioned as well. So kudos to you.
Yeah.
Where's the place?
It's in Tulum, actually.
Nice.
Which is Tulum 5 years ago, I would have moved to. Now today, you couldn't pay me to live in Tulum. It is like Miami South Beach in Tulum, but it prints money.
Yeah.
And like the Ritz-Carlton is coming there. Like all now 5-star hotels are coming there, which is also sad in some ways because it's really distorting the essence and like the soul of Tulum that was there with which, more spiritual yoga, healing, and that's still there, but it's being pushed out, you know?
It's Cancun almost.
It's becoming like that, but not as trashy. It's still very bougie.
Okay.
But it's expensive. It is not cheap to be vacationing there. It's not cheap to live there.
Okay.
But it's very good investment opportunity. And I saw that and I was like, I dove in last year there. But if I were to live there, which I have my permanent residency in Mexico, so I'm a huge fan of Mexico for so many different reasons. I would now, especially having a daughter, I would be more on the west side. So in Puerto Vallarta, Sayulita, which is just north of there, or like Punta Mita area, which is just north of Sayulita. It's kind of like 40 minutes from Puerto Vallarta. And Puerto Vallarta is one of the safest places in all of Mexico. It's like in the top 2. Like they haven't had a shooting there in like 8 years. Like it's my mom, who I won't say how old she is on my podcast, she'd kill me. But, my mom's my mom, and my mom can go there and walk late at night at 11, 12 p.m. on like the boardwalk, and she feels completely fine. You will see, I don't want to say seniors. I love you, Mom. My mom doesn't look like a senior, but I will say you will see retirees. Maybe that's a classier word.
There you go.
Retirees, you will see them walking at night, either coupled or like by themselves. And there's very few places really like in the world. Like I'll tell you, my mom would not do that in Toronto. My mom's not walking downtown Toronto
No kidding.
at 11 p.m. at night by herself. Never, so that also says a lot about that area of Mexico. Obviously, there's bad areas just like anywhere else. But overall, the Mexico stereotype from 5-10 years ago has dramatically changed. And it is becoming, I'm going to say, one of the more safer places to not just live. They have some of the best healthcare as well. Like their dental care is crazy there. It's like so cheap. And you have so many Canadians that go down there for that. So it's a great place to invest for all different kinds of reasons, depending on what you're looking for and like, how much you'd want to see on your return. Like it has something basically for any kind of investor. And also a person who says, I only have $100K.
Yep.
Like what could I buy? It's like, you still can right now, and there'll be places in Mexico for a long time still. You just would have to start moving out from like those hotspots of Puerto Vallarta. You just go to the next town that's going to develop and evolve more, right? So those opportunities are there. And that's also why I share with people a lot of, rather than looking at the market here in Canada, your dollar goes further. And Canada is not, even Florida. I compare Toronto to Florida all the time. People are coming to Toronto for events. They come for work, for conferences, concerts, and also just to kind of like see Toronto, yes, but that's a short period of time. Like people aren't vacationing to Toronto to see the CN Tower, Niagara Falls in January. Nobody's doing that. So your window and your opportunity to make good cash flow is very limited. Whereas Mexico, it's a 365 market. People are going for golf, for the ocean, bachelorette parties, like all of these things. And it's all year round. Their rainy season is very minimal. And then it usually rains at night. So your opportunity to have not just a better ROI on your investment and the appreciation, because you've gotten in low and now it's being so attractive, you've got a really good income producing asset where you didn't have to sell your arm just to get into the market. Where here today in Canada, that's what most people are having to do.
They do. And you have to take a bath every month thinking that I've got to supplement whatever I'm not earning to carry this place.
Yeah.
I was actually just in Puerto Vallarta in January.
Nice.
Yeah. So
we were there in February.
Oh my gosh.
Just missed you.
So beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. The beaches are nicer on the other side, I think. But I mean like the water.
Yeah.
But it was marvelous.
Oh, it's the Caribbean side, right?
Yeah.
So like you get some more of that crystal blue, but
yeah, but it was still lovely. And you're absolutely right. It's super safe.
Yeah.
Never felt at all intimidating anywhere.
Was that your first time there?
Mexico, no, but Puerto Vallarta, yes.
Yeah. I mean, and you loved it.
I did. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. My partner, same thing. It was his now second time going. We went last July to Tulum. I wanted to show him the project that I invested in. He'd been to Mexico a few times, but like Cancun, Playa del Carmen, and not further south. And so we went there, thought it was great. He also went in down season, which is a very different experience than being in Tulum in high season.
Okay.
Tulum in high season, I was like, I was going to say is a shit show. And I was like, this is my podcast. I can say what I want. Say it, yeah, I can say what I want. That's why I just paused. You see me? I'm like, no, this is mine. But it is literally a shit show in high season there. Like what normally would take you 8 minutes to get from the inner city strip down to the ocean can take you 2 to 3 hours because the traffic is ridiculous. Bicycles and Vespas is the name of the game there. But then you're in a dust, like you need to wear garbage. You'll see girls wearing garbage bags because they're ready to go party, and their hair and their outfits, and they're wearing garbage bags because of the dust. Because it's either sit in a taxi Uber for 2 hours or get on a Vespa on a bicycle, and make your way down. So it's a very different experience when you go in July. It's also very cheaper when you go in July because it's off season. And then we went 2 more times. We went to Puerto Vallarta. I was really pregnant at that time. I was 34 weeks. So we went over to the West Coast, and then my partner, same thing as you, just fell in love with it.
So nice.
Like, safe, felt so safe. And me being pregnant, like he wasn't worried at all. Whereas in Tulum, he was still kind of like looking over his shoulder. Like, he's still doing that everywhere, but you just feel there's an energy difference, right, between the two. So
it's a big country, hey? Like it's not
it's huge.
It's not the size of Jamaica or the size of Cuba. It's a big country.
It's massive. And you can explore it forever. Like this episode is not talking about Mexico, but I could talk about Mexico and like Mexico City for literally just an hour. It's one of the most spectacular cities in the world to me. Like there's so much that Mexico's offers besides making money. But
culturally, it's amazing. Yeah.
Culturally, it's amazing.
Climate's amazing.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, let's bring it back in. I'm gonna like commercial break. We just talked about Mexico. If something in this episode is hitting home, can I please ask you to take 30 seconds and subscribe to the show and leave a review? Share this episode on your Instagram and tag me. I would love to see who's tuning in, and your share might be the nudge another woman needs to start her own wealth journey. You have an amazing framework that you talk about that's called the Money Mansion. And I always say that the wealthy don't get rich by accident. They follow a system. So I would love for you to walk us through this framework that you have and how you're helping families shift from like hope-based investing to possibly guaranteeing, even though nothing is guaranteed, but it's a little more guaranteed than maybe crossing your fingers on certain things.
Absolutely. Yeah. So that's the words that I use as well, Shay. So we talked about investing, and that's what the Mexico discussion was about.
Yeah.
But investing ultimately is a hope strategy, like crypto, real estate.
Yeah.
I mean, there's market swings, and you hope the timing doesn't work out against you. You hope that it goes up in value. Mm-hmm. You don't actually know for any of these things.
Right.
Like, we don't know.
Yeah.
And I invest too, so I don't know either.
Yeah.
So it's a hope-based strategy. When you really like step back and think, is that what I've been doing this whole time?
Right.
You have been, right? We have been. So that is, it's difficult to accept. Yeah. And it puts even more fear into you when you're going to make the next investment. You're like, hang on a second, is this going to work? Whatever the investment is, it comes with hope. And analyzing tax, analyzing all inflation, all this stuff, and analyzing hope, I just said, okay, there's got to be a different way of doing it. Why are we doing it this way? And it's like, how about I stop looking at, that we talked about the money that you earn, income tax and blah, 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 and then you have enough left over and you go and invest that. Don't do it that way. Let's try and change the way we look at this. What if I said, what do I want to achieve? So I'm a grown man. I got daughters. I have elderly parents. I've got a dependence. I've got a life that I want to live. I got all these things, all these goals I have for myself. Like, what do I want to achieve? I want to achieve this. I want to be able to know that I will have this much money when I'm older, whatever this amount is. I want to know that I have a pension. As a guy who doesn't have a pension,
ditto,
right? All entrepreneurs, we do all the hard work, I think, all the heavy lifting, and we don't have a union. We don't have a pension. Right. So what I want is, I want to know that it's going to be all right. Whenever I'm ready, I have an endless pool of cash coming my way, just like those guys that work for the city do. So I want a pension. I want to know that my money is safe. I want to know that it's never going to go down ever. Like the value of my account is never going to dip. I don't want down cycles. Because if I need money and it happens to be one of those bad years, I'm screwed because I would have lost 10 years worth of gains because of a one bad 30% down drop year. So I don't want any of that. I don't want any exposure to markets like that. I don't want any, I want my money to be protected from creditors. I didn't do anything wrong, but I still don't want anyone ever being able to say, I think you did, and I'm going to tie up your money in court now while we figure this out. Even the government, CRA, IRS, I don't want them to have their hands on this. I want my money to grow tax-free. I want all these things. This is what I'm trying to do. And I want my kids to eventually see this. I want them to have it when I can't. And I just said, okay, this is what I want. I want this little bundle. I want this package. And try to figure out how do you make this? Right. But there is something out there that you could use, that we use, if you adapt it properly, which is where you talk about insurance. There's a special kind of contract you can use that guarantees that outcome. Oh, so what do I have to do to get this? You just gotta add fuel to it, which is funding. So if I do my part to fund this thing, I can get all this. Yeah, you can. So then why am I doing anything else but this? It's kind of how I feel. So the strategy, to me, I call it a money mansion because to me, my real estate background, it acts like real estate to me.
Sure.
It goes up in value. It gives me cash flow when I want it. So there's that element too. It's efficient when it comes to taxes. It's actually way more efficient than real estate. To me, it's like
you can lend against it.
Yeah, it's just like you can get a line of credit or you can get a mortgage on your property. Right. You can do this with this as well. Like there's so many elements that are similar. To me, I just related it to real estate properties. I'm like, this is what it is. But there's no landlord tenant stuff. There's no toilet bowls to change. Like I'm dealing with a water heater right now.
It's literally similar, not water heater, but I have somebody in my property right now, an Airbnb, and water's coming through the floor.
So that happens. If it rains, it doesn't matter, right? So your roof might have a problem and you got to deal with it, right?
Yeah.
And those are all problems. And I don't want those problems. The older I get, the less patience I have for those 100%. Problems.
Yeah.
And when Koa's on you and you I don't want to deal with this, we're probably thinking when Koa's here, I only get so much time with her. I want to make sure that I'm hanging out with her. Yeah. I don't want that call.
Yeah.
So anyways, a lot of what I've done has shifted from my own personal purposes towards a money mansion. So I've basically been using trading houses into money mansions.
Interesting.
Funding this because this gets me that life in Mexico that you're talking about.
Right.
It gets you that without having to deal with any phone calls.
Right. And quicker.
And it's quicker. Right. Honestly, it's quicker. So it just takes time and people don't know how to use this, which is why I wrote this. Can I plug this over here?
Yeah. Put it up.
I don't even know where I'm looking, but there, okay?
Yeah.
Called Wealth Up. And it talks about the money mansion concept. Yeah. It talks about why, because I'm a nerd and I want to know why. Yeah. I want to know how.
Donny just brought up a book. So if you're not watching this and you're only listening, it's a fabulous green book and we're going to plug it in the show notes as well. So you'll be able to grab a copy.
Absolutely.
You can even DM. Yeah. I'm going to say it even just now. You can DM me or you can DM Donny on Instagram, Money Mansion, and we'll make sure that you get a copy. So,
thanks, Shay. Yeah. So I explain it all. Like there's no market cycles in this world. There's no there's no hope. Yeah. I want all this stuff and I don't want to hope that I get it like the rest of us have been doing. Totally. I want to put it under contract and say, you go make it happen for me now. Yeah. And that who I'm talking to is not just anybody. It's not the guy in the corner of St. Clair. It's not like it's a loan shark. I'm talking to major financial institutions, big national brands. And I tell them, this is what I want to create. I want to create this strategy. And they're happy to do that if you meet their qualifications. Every contract's got to be win-win. I know what I want and I know who the partner is going to be, they're going to have some requirements as well as to what it is that they do. And a lot of times in this space, I'm using this contract for this purpose. They want to do health assessments and things like that on us. They want to make sure that we're doing this on us.
Yeah. Okay. So a couple things that you've just said. So let's dive into, first off, what is this contract that you're talking about?
Okay.
2, if I just heard you saying I've taken houses, I've taken investment assets that I have, and I'm converting it into this contract. What if I don't have houses as investments, or maybe I don't even have a house myself? Maybe I'm renting. So is this still applicable to me if I only have $200 to maybe $500 of disposable income, which that's what you're talking about earlier, that tiny amount at the bottom after mortgage or your rent is paid, car payments are done, taking your kid to daycare, if you do that, like all of those life essentials, and I only have a couple $100 left over. Is this what you're talking about still applicable to me?
It's going to be hard for you. Mm-hmm. It's because we're talking about a small number again.
Right.
We're talking about making that small number a big number. For me, why would Shay consider this? So Shay, this is like complete honesty here. Why would you want to do this? You want it because at some point when you're not either able or willing to transact in real estate, maybe you want to figure out a way to like sort out a pension-like environment for yourself where you can pull cash flow all the time.
Right.
You can be anywhere on a beach and not have to worry about, answering that call, writing that offer, or not being there for a client or whatever. So that you need access to capital to build for your future.
Okay.
It's really hard to do with $200 a month if anyone was trying to think like, this is how I want to achieve this. But we're focusing on the small number. And that is because we've been trained to focus on that small number.
Right.
There is a bigger number. That is the missing opportunity cost here. You start with a big number and it dwindles down to a small number. I talk about a strategy called diverting dollars, which is saying kind of like pay yourself first, David Chilton. It's kind of like that, but it's more like.
And sorry, break that down. I know what that means.
Pay yourself first?
Yeah.
Pay yourself first is where you got all these expenses and all that stuff, but you got to plan for your future as well. So how do you plan for your future? Before you commit to making all those expense payments, you take off the top, not the bottom, money for yourself to put towards some sort of strategy, financial strategy. Usually it's registered accounts, 401k, RSP, to plan for your future.
Right.
That way you force yourself to do that.
And are you putting that into a 401k or an RSP?
Am I? Or are they? They should, because they should put it into something that's going to be tax advantaged.
Right. Okay.
For the same reason that we started talking about. So,
and automating that.
Yeah.
Like if you're an entrepreneur, obviously your months are different. We don't have paychecks every week or every 2 weeks or monthly, however you get paid. Yes. But if you do, and like there's so many different successful people that will tell you to like set it and forget it. And that's part of paying yourself first.
That is pay yourself first. Yeah.
It's like simple. Automate it so that you don't even need to do that transfer from your bank account. It just does it.
Because it's like a tool to stop you from yourself, to 100%. Save you from yourself, because you might spend that money.
Yeah. Yeah.
If it's there, we can talk about the avocado toasting and lattes. If it's not there, you don't have it to spend, whatever. I actually don't think it matters, by the way. Avocado toasting, I've never been a big fan. That isn't what's going to make or break us. That's not what's hurting the middle class. It's taxation. But we talk about the small number, the $200 a month.
Yeah.
So what did that person earn then, where they have $200 a month left over? Let's just say they were making $2,000. Call it 10%. Is $200 is 10% of $2,000.
Sure.
Which, by the way, you would think 10% is possible. If you I started researching all this. It is not for the average Canadian.
No,
it's closer to 5.
Yeah,
it's actually under 5.
Yeah,
that is, we're not saving.
No, well, and honestly, in today's environment, it's very hard to even a very good friend of mine. They have 4 children, actually 5. There's 5 kids in the family, and this is actually in the U.S. And I was having the conversation with him, and he's like, no matter what, it's like and they're entrepreneurs too. So they're like, we're building new revenue streams and we have that new revenue coming in, but it's like, we feel like we're doing more, but the net ends up being the same. It's like, we're not moving the needle because the cost of now going to Costco to go shop, it's like, we're bringing in more money, but it's gone right back out because of of expenses.
Okay. And because the number that you're bringing in, so you're bringing in more, but it's artificial.
Right.
Because
correct.
It's inflation again. Like
Correct.
the number looks
Yes.
larger, but it's actually not.
Correct.
And so it's this false sense of belief. And we've been spending more because we think we're making more. We think we're bringing in more.
Right.
Yeah, but don't forget that what you're spending on also went up as well. So it's not, it's all happening at the same time.
It's relative, yeah.
So, but there is a way, it's not for everybody, but if you're diligent, if you are responsible, if you're accountable to yourself, you could work on more than just what's left over. You could figure out how to use the money first before you apply it to everything else in your life.
Yeah.
You could do that.
Yeah.
And we'll get so we'll get into an example right now. So, you go on vacation.
Yeah.
I love vacationing.
Yeah.
Do you love vacationing?
I am the queen. I'm like the travel queen. I'm always on a plane. My daughter's already been on one plane. Okay. Well, two actually. Yeah.
So they're great.
Yeah.
And I think we all need them. I think it's important for, not just to get your mind right, but just it's important to see other places in the world.
100%.
Okay. So let's just say, keep my math easy. Let's just say you're going to go on vacation. It's going to cost you $12,000 a year. Mm-hmm. Or who in the audience, if you're listening to this, it costs you $12,000 a year to go on vacation. $12,000 per trip.
Right.
Which is that a lot? Is that I don't know.
It depends on where you're going.
Okay. You're a family of 3, family of 4.
Yeah.
$12,000 is probably reasonable.
Yeah. I would say be hard to, with flights and everything.
Okay. Yeah. So it's even hard. So, but for math, so you have 3 kids. You have 1 kid and his 2 parents.
Yeah.
Good. So $4,000 per person. Okay. Yep. We'll call it $12,000. So $12,000 for my monkey brain is 12 months of payments of $1,000.
Right.
So a sane person might save, family A, might save $1,000 a month towards paying for that vacation.
Right.
So they get there. So they've been waiting for a year, month 1, $1,000 a month, and they keep going.
Yeah.
Put it in a Wealthsimple, they put it in a Robinhood, they make $12,000, boom, spend.
Yeah.
So they're gone now. What happens to the money, Shay? What happened to the $12,000?
That they've invested?
No, they just, all they did was save it and then paid for vacation.
Oh.
What do they have left over?
Nothing.
A big goose egg, right?
Yeah.
Nothing. Okay. What if there was a structure where you build it up the same way?
Yeah.
Instead of paying the $10,000 or $1,000 a month into a savings account that you are hoping to build to $12,000, you put $1,000 a month into a contract that goes up in value. And at the end of your year, you say, all right, I'm not going to withdraw the money from the contract like I did in a savings account. Instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a loan. Here's the leverage part again. Mm-hmm. I'm going to create a loan based on the value of my contract. Right. And I'm going to ask for someone else to give me their $12,000. Right. And I'm going to spend that money while my money continues to increase. Yeah. And I'm going to use $12,000. I'm going to go on vacation. And then the next year, we're both going to do the same thing. The family A over here is saving $1,000 a month. Family B over here is paying $1,000 a month back towards paying down that loan. Right. You fast forward to the end of that year, family A is going to spend all over again. They're going to be back to zero again. Family B put their $12,000 in the account. They've paid down the loan. They borrow again and go on vacation with that money. And now their money that they put in back in the day, the $12,000 is now $15,000. Right. You guys are sitting at zero over here. Right. Family A. Family B is growing. Yeah. And every year thereafter, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger because it did it that one time. Right. Imagine doing this with more than just your vacation budget.
Totally.
Anything.
Yeah.
Car budget. Yeah. Renovation budget. So this contract allows you to do something like that, where you can put money to work while you go spend. So you're doing something good. You're building wealth while you're spending. So it's not like you got to do one or the other. Right. When you save and spend, you're doing or. Yeah. When you do this way, you're doing something good for yourself along with creating debt. Yeah. So it's a different way of imagining it. It's complicated. It's hard to even just vocalize, but it's a brilliant strategy to accessing money that you're already using to spend for everything else in your life. Yeah. So it isn't the $100 at the end. It isn't the $200 at the end that you're saving. It's what are you spending on, and can I use that more efficiently before I get rid of that money? Yeah. So I'm saying divert some of that bigger number to a contract that's going to build your wealth for you, take care of that part for you. Then you borrow it back and spend it. You could do that. You can introduce a little bit of a wedge.
Yeah, which is brilliant.
It's simple, but we don't think that way because education.
And I was going to say, we don't think that way because it's not been taught. When you look at the education system, it is to make us slaves of the system without understanding how to utilize the system as a tool to actually build freedom.
You are bang on.
Right?
You are bang on. Like we're just conditioned to do the same thing because, and I don't know if there's like higher power at play or who's doing this or pulling the strings. That's exactly what's happening.
Yeah. Wow.
We're just soldiers.
That's a whole other episode that we could have. I could tell you who's at the top pulling the strings. And a lot of that got pulled back for COVID for a lot of people. If that was not if that was your first introduction, you know, like I always say you should question everything. And I think even who's way smarter than me that says that? I think it's Einstein that said like question everything. Like it is a powerful, beautiful thing to question everything.
Curiosity is gorgeous. Yeah,
it is. And like there's this book from years and years ago. I was living in Vancouver at the time. I bought it in Seattle. So I was probably 24, 25 in and around that time frame. And I'll never forget it. I still have the book. It's all like highlighted, but it says, if you ask better questions, you will get a better life.
Yeah.
You know? And so like the better your questions are, the better your life becomes, you know? And so that's part of this today is going, there are so many different advantages and strategies that can be employed and should be employed, but it's starting with something as simple as what you just said. And most people want to go on vacations, even if it's within the country and not like leaving here, but they're going away for a weekend. You know, you could start to employ this, get comfortable with it, understand it, and then start building your education on top of it and then putting that into practice, right?
You can go down a rabbit hole just like in thought, never mind even just research. If you start thinking that way, if anyone walks away from this discussion and really spends time, I think it's so valuable for that one person to really understand what, like that little concept, just change the way I do this and I could see a better result. Yeah. So you can't do with everything.
No.
You can't put that money into Bitcoin or whatever, because you don't know what's going to happen later on. And if it drops, you're screwed. Now you got to pay back a debt that you don't have money for, and for an asset that's worth less than you bought it for.
Yeah. I also think that if you're not already an investor, like that's not the best place to start.
No.
Like, you know, because what'll happen is the market things are going to be volatile, and then you're going to have regret. And like, that's going to be your first palate, right? Your first taste. And then you're going to be very nervous about everything else you do versus building your confidence as an investor with there's actual strategies in place that do work, that are more safe or can be more guaranteed. And in some cases like this, guaranteed.
Yep.
And then when you build up your risk, it's like you can go what I call fun money. Like for me, it's like whatever I have in crypto is fun money. If I win, freaking amazing. If I lose,
it's like Vegas.
I'm not like not going to eat.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't matter to me. And it's not my disrespect for money, because that also plays into a lot of building wealth. But it's not something that I rely on in order to live, and it's not something I'm relying on in order to build a retirement fund for me. So it's very different.
Right.
You know?
I want to talk about you. Is that okay?
Yeah.
So you are building wealth.
Yeah.
Clearly. You have reason. You have a big why right now too.
I do.
Yes.
Yeah. It's expanded.
Yes.
Huge.
Right. And that changes everything. And it's never gone.
Yeah.
And so, you know, we started talking because Koa was a big part of it. It was like, how do I help her figure stuff out?
Yeah.
Financially, what can I do for her today? And all you know is all you know from the RESP world in Canada when you give birth in the hospital and they're tossing these documents at you saying, do this, do that. And you made to feel like, oh my God, yeah, I have to do this. Everyone's doing it. If I don't do this, I'm guilty of not loving my kid enough.
Right.
And all that kind of
stuff. Which I didn't do it. That. I did not do that.
So I'm actually supportive of that, Shay, because it's not right for everybody.
Right.
And if your kid's going to go to school in Costa Rica or Mexico or whatever, then what a waste it would have been.
Right.
So anyway, okay. So we're good for you. But it is right for some people for sure. It's got noble beginnings. Like, why did we have this at all? Well, because we're helping parents save for the kids' education. I get it. And we need an educated workforce, an educated society, you know, for sure. Is it working? I don't know. But I don't know anyone that's actually funded a kid's university for years with maxing out the funding for an RESP. But it's neither here nor there. So we're making it about you here. So you first.
And can I just throw some food for thought?
Yes.
Rather than do that, which your money sits there and the government actually takes it to spend it and invest it and make money, why not purchase a home with renters in it and have the property going up in value, or a contract, sure. But like there are other ways that you can still create the wealth and have it grow and be saved through investing for your kid. And that's more like safer, you know? I'm not saying like put it in the stock market and start a fund. You could do that. But again, it's up and down, up and down. And if you don't really know the stock market, but there's things like real estate where it's like, buy them a home, you know, start with something like that.
Well, it's more for the people that are $200 a month. Like that's what they've got, right? So, and they're going to do it for 18 years. Yeah. So I get that. Yeah. If you can, there are far better options. Yeah. Where you can use bigger investments up front to do that. So, I want to talk about you, Shane Vidiata.
I'm on the hot seat now.
Well, so this is about you. Yes. Okay. So you and your pension that doesn't really exist, but you were probably doing what many of us did, which is I'll keep buying real estate. Yeah. And real estate will eventually be paid off. And then I will just use the money from the renters to cover everything else. Yeah. Probably. Yeah. Yep. So, and it could work. Sure. It could work. There's a bit of a hope strategy again, like stuff can go wrong and you might get derailed or whatever, but it's probably likely, I want you to know, it's probably likely you're going to be just fine with that strategy. Okay. But I tasked myself with, I'm going to show you a different option or another option to consider for yourself. You might want to do to prepare for that eventual give me money in my future. Right. Okay. So we're going to use, this is basically a money management concept. Okay. And we're going to use an insurance contract to achieve that because it can give us all that stuff we talked about earlier with the bundle of all those things. So I pulled an example here based on you being terrific health, all that stuff. Okay. Yep. This is saying you're going to put $10,000 a year into a contract. Okay. This is not car insurance. Right. Where it's an expense that you're paying and then you'll never get it back. And if you don't get in an accident, well then, there was no benefit of you paying that.
Shit out of luck.
It's not that at all. Yeah. Okay. So I want to make sure that we don't consider this to be, it's not, remove insurance from the whole thing. Yeah. Just say, this is another vehicle to park your money. You probably have savings accounts elsewhere. Yeah. It's kind of the same thing. Yeah. So you're going to put in this example, 10 grand per year into a very safe account. It's going to generate gains. Okay. How this works, it's very similar to starting a business. When you start a business, you're brand new in whatever you're going to do. Yeah. It may work out right away. It's likely not. Restaurants open up. They got to invest in the kitchen. They got to invest in there's fixtures, there's things. It takes a while for a business to turn a profit. Yep. Think of it the same way. You will invest in your own business to try and generate a forever future business that's going to generate money for you. So same thing. So you put in $10,000 and our goal, the way we design this is committing you to $10,000 for 10 years. Okay. So you're going to pay $100,000, like over the life of this whole thing, 100 grand. Okay. You may want to do more when you hear what's going to happen, but you're putting in 10 grand in this example and you're going to do this every year. What's interesting is you're putting into a contract that is very, very, very safe. Okay. Because it's tied to something that is very, very, very certain, and that is death. Okay. Which is ugly, but just understand the math. It's inevitable. Yeah. So the fact that you are human. Yeah. I think
I've had my partner says I'm Superwoman sometimes. So, okay. I don't know.
So I'm just going to assume because I didn't mark it, but you're human for the most part. Yeah. Okay. So these guys in this office who write these things up say, well, she's got a lifespan, and based on the fact that there will be an event, we can write guarantees off of that event, and this is how this is born. So based on you paying $10,000 into this contract, right? It's going to immediately buy you about 230 grand worth of, if you die tomorrow, that much money is going to go to your kid, right? Or whatever you decide, tax free. Okay, but that's the insurance part of this, and I don't want to really get into the insurance part of it. I want to talk about how does Shay benefit now that Shay's alive? Right. You need money in the first year. You're like, I put the $10,000 in, but I also need to spend on vacation fund. I put in 10 grand, but I want to go on vacation. Right. I'm willing to do this, but I'm not willing to not go on vacation.
That is true.
Okay. So the fact that it's so secure and based on something that's definitely going to happen.
Yeah.
Just like a house has you can get a line of credit up to 65% of the value of the property, or a mortgage up to 80% of the value of the property.
Yep.
Same thing. These guys will let you borrow money back from the value of your contract up to, depends on the company, but up to 90% of the value of the contract.
Wow, that's fabulous.
And the value of the contract at inception is not the same money that you put into it because, well, you bought insurance along with it. So it's not dollar for dollar, but it changes fast. So you put in 10 grand in the first year. In this example here, for very true example for you, if you wanted to buy this today, you have access to almost 8 grand. Okay. You also have insurance. If something happens to you, your kid's going to get all this money.
Right.
But you have access to that. The next year, you do another $10,000. And if you wanted to cancel the contract, you could have access to just under $17,500. Okay. So you put in $10,000 the second year and you have access to almost $10,000 in gain in that value. You're not out much, but you're definitely out a few bucks for doing this. Keep going year over year. At year 5, you're basically dollar for dollar. Whatever you put in is available to you if you decided to cancel the contract to give you back basically everything.
Right.
But every year you're putting in $10,000, the value of your contract is increasing by a lot more than that. And it will only ever get bigger and bigger every single year. No down years.
Right.
So if ever you needed money for vacation,
right,
for renovation, whatever, you have access to money on demand to say, I don't need permission from anybody.
Right.
I want 20 grand.
Right.
I'll pay. Yeah, it's mine. I'll pay you interest, but it's mine. And I want this money. I don't want my money to stop growing. I'm not withdrawing. That's the key. I'm not withdrawing. I'm borrowing is the value.
Right. Leverage.
Mm-hmm. And the number gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. So when you are 65, you've paid 100 grand. When you're 65, you have access to $240,000.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And if something happened to you and you died at that age, your daughter would get 510 grand tax free.
And I'm 45 at that point, you said?
You are 65. I'm saying.
65, sorry.
And this is based on your age today, which I know, but I'm not going to share. It's not on the back of this thing, is it? No.
You can share it. I'm 40.
Okay, so it's there, but
it's good context for people.
Yes, a female, non-smoker, in great health, and 40 years old. These are the kind of numbers you could expect for $10,000 annually. So now, if you were sitting there like the rest of the people, and they were told to save,
right?
Save. Your money's sitting in a savings account. You don't know what for, but you're just having it there.
Yeah.
This is a better saving account to me.
No kidding.
It's good. First of all, it's going up in value, and it's not taxable. Like when I earn money on my bank account, I got to pay interest. I got to pay tax on my interest. Yeah. It's actually less than they're paying me, but I got to pay interest. I got to pay tax on my interest. This one, that isn't happening.
Right.
It's growing bigger and bigger and bigger. And the longer I have this, the more it does good for me, which brings me to Koa in a minute, because Koa is very, very young.
Right.
And the benefit of time does magic for her.
Yeah. The compound effect.
Effect, right? Compound effect with no down years. Yeah. Like it only ever goes up. Well, that's pretty spectacular because I never have to worry about timing or negative growth.
And, as you're saying that, putting it into a savings account, I often say, and I think it's a good time just to remind people, you will never save your way to becoming wealthy. And so this contract, this insurance policy that we're talking about, it's a similar concept to saving, but it's not saving. There's a compound effect that's taking place within this policy. And so it's a really big difference.
Very simple. What you said is exactly right. Exactly right. Compounding is the 8th wonder of the world. This is what Einstein says. Right back to your boy Einstein. He says compound growth is the greatest, is the 8th wonder of the world. He who understands it, he or she who understands it, earns it. He who doesn't, pays it.
Right.
And none of us actually let compounding happen in our lives.
Right.
We never let our money sit in a place long enough for compounding to occur. So we never see the growth. Right. It's the simplest concept. The whole example of a penny doubled.
Yeah. Yeah.
Remarkable, right?
Yeah.
Well, I'll say it for the audience in case they don't know, but a penny, if you had the choice of $1 million today, or a penny that is doubled and then doubled every day for a month, what would you choose?
Right.
And most people naturally think
$1 million.
$1 million.
Yeah.
But a penny doubled every day over 30 days exceeds 5 million.
Right.
That's the power of compounding.
Right.
When your money earns money, and that money earns money along with the money you put in there, and it keeps going. But we don't put our money anywhere for compounding to occur.
Yeah.
Checking account, savings account, it goes in, it goes out. You're not compounding anything with it in that environment. You're just using money. This is an opportunity to really make compounding work.
Totally.
While you're not losing access to your money, you can still go live.
Yeah.
Do what you want to do. You still have access to it.
Yeah.
But you're changing the way that you use money. You have to be okay with, when I need money, I will borrow from a facility that I created for myself to do this.
Yeah.
Which is hard to conceptualize, but it's very, very valuable.
Yeah. So let me ask you, like, life is life. And maybe I am able, which $10,000 for the year is less than $1,000 a month that you're putting into this policy, that essentially you're redirecting savings into a compounding machine. Okay.
Perfect.
Life is life. And so maybe this year for me, like I said, we can use me. I'm fine with that. Like maybe that 10 grand is like, I don't even need to think about it. It's like, yeah, no problem. We'll do 10 grand today.
Yep.
But life happens. And what if next year it's harder and I can't meet that 10,000? What happens then?
What I just described was ideal scenario. You do 10 grand a year, off you go.
Yeah.
What is required is not 10 grand a year.
Okay.
So it's a lower number. So there's loads of options for you here. Just so you know, these things you can always cancel. You can always say, I'm out.
Right.
And they'll give you back what it's worth today. And what is it worth today? Okay. It's insurance with a death benefit.
Right.
This is what I'm going to pay you if you died.
Right.
So they look at the numbers and say, based on what you're going to pay me over the years, what you contracted for, based on what I'm going to pay you out in the future, based on how much time is left, blah, 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 I'm going to give you like a deal or no deal. You know, remember that game?
Yeah.
They're going to say, hey, if you want to go away and you're going to relieve me of the burden to pay this big number,
right?
Shay, I'll give you this much money right now. And you can always say yes. It's like having a buyer in your back pocket.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah, always. Exactly.
So you can liquidate it.
Yeah.
Which is a terrible thing because this thing takes hold in year 4, year 5, and it just takes off.
Yeah.
So if you can get through that part, you're good. But if you are stuck in year 2 and you're like, how am I going to come up with this? 2 ways really that are really simple. And there's more than 2, but the simplest ways is 1, you can pay the required part. The required part's not 10 grand. It's a small percentage of that.
Okay.
The magic in this concept is the way we design it so that there is that required and then like a top up.
Yeah. The
top up part is heavier than the required part. So as long as you pay the required part, you're going to be good. You won't see the gains the same way.
Sure.
But if that's what, like, this is survival, this is life we're talking about here. No problem. You have that option. You also have this option. You shouldn't use it this way. You shouldn't intend to do it this way, but you just built a contract that has access to money that you could borrow from if you needed to. It could go back to itself kind of thing, right? Like, I mean, you shouldn't do that, but you could do that.
Yeah.
So there's that until you catch up and then you can pay it all off and off you go.
And then I guess the flip side would be is, let's say I do the 10,000 as my target for the year and I'm an entrepreneur, my business is growing, maybe I acquire another business, maybe I start another business and I'm like, I want to actually now do double that a year. Does that have that flexibility?
You cannot do that. So you make a decision once when you start it and that's it. The reason why is, so we're trying to achieve our goals.
Yeah.
It just so happens that it's an insurance policy that's doing that for us.
Right.
So on the other side, the insurance company is thinking, wait a second, she wants to put more money in and buy more insurance, essentially buy more death benefit. Something's wrong with her. She's sick or something, and she knows this, and she's trying to take more. She's trying to take advantage of us because we did our due diligence based on her at age 40 at the time. So they don't want to expose themselves to that undue risk.
So you couldn't actually even take out a new policy like underneath that company, which I would think even if you went to like Manulife versus Sun Life, for example, like if you went to those 2 known, wouldn't they be able to kind of see or check like? I don't know how that works actually. If
they do share, they do share some information, but
I would think
time matters. Like when did you do it versus when are you asking for the next one, right? Could be
5 years. Let's say I'm 40 now versus 45, and now I'm like in a way different wealth position, and I want to take out a new policy because 20,000 is nothing for me to be able to put into a policy. Or they would say no.
They might make you based on the amount. How much, so ultimately this is a contract of how much death benefit you're buying.
Right.
I don't want, again, I don't want, because to me, it isn't about the insurance. It's more of the asset class, but the math is all based on a death benefit. Right. How much money are you trying to buy to leave behind to your family?
Right.
If that number approaches a certain threshold, or you got some sort of health risks, they might say, nah, Shay, I got to get you back in I need a nurse to come over to your house again, do some blood work and make sure that you're okay. You're going to have to say okay to all these tests to say, I need to know what they're buying.
Right.
You know what you're buying, but they need to know what they're buying.
Right.
So it's likely that you would need a new contract, a second one, not a replacement one, a second one to accomplish whatever the goal is you want to achieve.
So, I think this is really important that you're moving from, it's not even necessarily just having a scarcity mindset, but so often humanity, it's funny actually, most of us don't even live in the present. Like most people are anxious or depressed about something, which means they're focused on the past, right? Or depressed because they're focused about something on the past. And if you have anxiety, it's because you're worried about the future, like what you can't control. And we should be in the present. And that is a very powerful, healthy way to actually move through life, is being present on, like right now, you and I having this conversation and being truly present in it. But when you start to look at family and life in general, you have to be able to step outside and plan ahead is a wise thing to do.
Totally.
And to start to actually think beyond yourself. And this is kind of, sometimes we get this life in question, like, what do you want to be remembered for? What do you want your tombstone to say, right? And that's like legacy. What do you want to be remembered for? But wealthy people, and I always say, and it's a whole other podcast, which I'm actually going to do an episode on this, that wealthy, luxury, it starts in your mind first. It's a mindset.
Absolutely.
And so even if you don't have what number you need in your bank account right now to actually feel that you're wealthy, when you start to think ahead, like this is the target, that's the goal, this is the mindset, it's achievable, you actually realize that the Rockefeller families, the Rothschilds, like a lot of these like dynasty families are not thinking in when I die and when I'm passing on. They're not even thinking in decades beyond. It's multi-generations.
4 generations, yes.
Right. It's like centuries. It's like 100 block years of like what you're doing. And when you think like that and you start, which can be overwhelming for a lot of people, because it's not just Koa's children, my daughters, it's her children's children. And that's the conversation that you and I started to have. And I was like, you need to come on the podcast.
Right.
Because that's what this is to give people the tools and the strategies, but to start thinking differently around these conversations of money, actually how to build wealth, because they're not tools that we're taught in school. If you want to learn it, you got to go find people like Robert Kiyosaki. You got to go find Tony Robbins, right? Like he's got a good money thing too that he does at Money Mastery, to be able to learn from successful people that are so willing to show you things inside out, to be like, here's how you do it. Here's the action steps and go do it. And so today, like, what I want people to start to think is like, even that number right now, like if 10,000 feels overwhelming, part of it is to know when you are able to do it. There are so many ways that for less than $1,000 a month, you'd be able to meet that. You just would. You have to change priorities, sometimes spending habits, but also, like you said, there's ways to be able to leverage, to be able to fund a policy like this that is going to pay you back.
Or even the diversion we talked about, where if you were going to spend this money anyway, vacation, family A, family B, you're going to spend it anyway. Instead of saving for vacation, save for a contract, spend from the value of the contract and pay back. Now you funded that. You've done the 1 year. You're done. Yeah. You've solved that problem forever now. You can always just borrow, pay back indefinitely. Yeah. The fact that you did that is going to have you a very different result over time. I'm going to get into like my kid as well. Your kid and my kid.
I would love to hear.
Okay,
that.
so Koa's got I got a document here for her. Here's an example of a policy on her life.
Okay.
For $2,500 a year. Okay. So Koa is going to have birthdays. She hasn't yet, but she will.
Yeah.
Easter and Christmas and these kinds of things, right?
Yeah.
She will come into monetary gifts.
Sure.
It's inevitable.
Yeah.
Okay. And you probably already have opened a savings account for her.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So our kids have savings accounts, but we just talked about why are we doing that when we have better options than savings accounts? And this could be the better option. So imagine that she's going to bring in $2,500 a year. And you just, instead of putting in a savings account, you put into this.
Right.
So the kid policies are not as efficient as grown-up policies, but they still work the exact same way. It's you fund it, and over the years, it becomes more valuable than you can possibly contribute to it.
Right.
So she puts in $2,500. She's at year 6 in this example. She's basically dollar for dollar.
Okay.
Whatever you put in for her is available to her if she cancels the policy.
Okay.
But it's growing.
Right.
And forever, whatever you put in beyond that now is going to give her more money than that back.
Right.
You put in $2,500 when she's 18. It's basically made $3,500 available to her if she wanted to cancel the contract or borrow against.
Right.
And the next year it's even higher and even higher. When let's use an example here. On my old eyes. She's 50. You put in $2,500, or she did it at that point. Her contract went up $32,000. Wow. That's 2.5, 32.
Yeah.
Right? So inflation's doing its thing for sure.
Yeah.
But come on, so that's the kind of efficiencies you see when you have compounding at play and you have that many years in between, right?
Yeah.
So Koa, in real life, my daughter's Mia. My oldest daughter is Mia. So she's 15. And this summer, she wanted to do volleyball camp.
Okay.
So my daughters have $5,000 policies. Also the same provider because they're amazing for kid policies. But she had money in a bank account. I'm anti-banks, just so you know. But she had money in a bank account and 5,000. So what I did was I started back and I funded 2 years at inception because you can do that with this company.
Oh,
so I put in $10,000 off the bat. And the third payment came out $5,000. So she's contributed $15,000. By the way, all her money.
Yeah.
Not mine.
Amazing. Yeah.
And she understands what she's doing or how we're working this. So both my kids have this, but me as the first one to actually do what I'm talking to you about, access money to pay for something that you want for your life.
Right.
So instead of me paying for volleyball, $1,500, I said, no, you know enough now.
Yeah.
It's time to understand how to use money, how to
make it work for you.
Go.
Yep.
So we're not going to withdraw it. You're going to create a loan. And I walked through the steps. I went on there and as simple as request the money, put it in the account, took the account money and made the payment.
Amazing.
Off she went.
Yeah.
And now she's on a loan schedule. She's got to pay back $129 a month every month for 12 months and it's paid off.
Yeah.
The fact that she didn't spend her money means that $1,500 stayed in the account.
Yeah.
And I showed her the chart, given current rates and given current, it's worth $70,000 by the time she's 60 something. Yeah. Okay. But that's one thing of $1,500. If she does this with more and more things in her life, she retains more of her money in an environment that's going to grow. Yeah. And you'll spend anyway. You spend someone else's money and then just pay it back. It'll cost you a few bucks more in interest. Yes.
Right.
You're earning way more than that.
Right. The upside wins.
So she gets it.
Yeah.
And my wish for you is Koa gets it when she's ready, when she's going to inherit, Mia had to fund all this for 3-4 years, but Koa will have 20 years or 15 years of growth.
Totally.
That's a big number.
It's a huge number.
And then, education planning, wherever it is in the world.
Yeah. You can borrow.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Just to blow the roof off that one now. Imagine this. You borrowed, her money was in the account, this contract, her own money mansion. You started spending for her school from that account.
Right.
From that contract. And on your way out, if you're mortal, on your way out,
I'm mortal, I love it.
You're going to die. You're going to leave a death benefit. You wiped out all of the college fund, whatever you borrowed. She's not making a single payment over the years to any of this stuff. You wiped out her loan, you've erased that, and you've given her money, and her contract is it's 50 years of growth. Right. It's massive, and she owes nothing on it. It's a blank slate. It's a different way of funding education.
Yeah.
It's not a condo. It could be a house, but it's not. In this case here, there's no maintenance. There's nothing to do.
Right.
There's no annual fees. There's no drama. There's no rainstorms.
Yeah.
That's what we can do for our kids.
Right. And like talk about tax and shielding with that when I die.
So life insurance predates income tax.
Mm-hmm.
And the contracts were created. Like, why did this exist? Well, it's like pooled resources to try and get together and help thy neighbor.
Right.
If something happens to me, my buddy Chuck is going to help make sure that my wife's taken care of. And so we put money together and she'll get the money tax-free. Mm-hmm. So death benefits are paid out tax-free.
Right.
As the money is growing in the policies that we're creating, it's also growing tax-free.
Right.
So on the way up, it's going tax-free. And on the way out, on a payout, it's also tax-free. And in the meanwhile, when I'm accessing money from a loan, loans are not taxable. Yeah. So my pension will essentially be a mega loan. I don't care.
Right.
Because my death benefit's going to wipe it out when I'm gone. So that's kind of.
I want to say to people, are you starting to see how the wealthy become more wealthy? Like creating these structures. And then on top of that, you can have one of these policies in a corporation. You can hold it in a corporation as well. So talk about
that's another level.
Yeah.
Wowza. Yeah,
but
absolutely.
Let's go there.
So, okay, we talked about personal taxes earlier, talked about corporate taxes. In Canada, I'll use Canada as an example. In Ontario, up to when you make over 235 grand, you're paying 53% on tax on every dollar that you bring in. But if you earn that money in a corporation environment instead, up to $500,000 that you're earning, you're paying 12.2% in income tax.
Right.
Therein lies a 40% opportunity to figure out how to use that money.
Yeah.
Your corporation, provided you qualify, your corporation could be the one buying life insurance on your life.
Yeah.
Because you are pretty important to your own corporation.
Yep.
So I have more money left over in a corporation because I'm paying less tax.
Sure.
From which to be able to afford even more coverage or like a bigger money mansion on this side.
Right.
So yes, there is opportunity to start diverting money into your corporation if you have that or get it set up. And that's one example of how you can leverage the tax benefits of a corporate environment. When it pays out, same rules. Like there's a special provision in corporations in Canada called the corporate dividend account. Death benefits are paid to that, and then it's paid to beneficiaries, also tax-free. Right. For the most part, almost entirely tax-free.
Yeah.
So here you are building wealth through the years in a corporation environment, not earning it personally. You're tax efficient. Keep going. And on the way out, you didn't pay tax.
Yeah.
So the wealthy do figure out what you have to you have to give it thought, have the proper consultants involved to make sure that you're doing these kinds of things. Because if you're like my dad, he didn't have anybody in his corner championing for him and telling him these are the things you should be doing or could be doing. There's no one there. So if you're listening to this, or you're watching this, you now know the difference.
You do.
the responsibility is almost on you now to keep going and investigating. How do I figure out how to do this?
Yeah. And again, we talked about asking better questions. And I think this has been such a powerful conversation that has been eye-opening, I think, for a lot of people to at least walk away starting to think about many different insurance, not just for your car or, it has way longer longevity and benefits and abilities as a tool to create generational wealth. So if you are interested, you are giving everybody a gift today.
Yes, Shay. Tell
us a little bit about your gift. Yeah.
So if you DM me, follow me on Instagram, Donny Mangos, DONNY, mangoes like the fruit.
And we'll put that in the show notes too.
Yes, thank you. And DM Money Mansion to me.
Yeah.
And I'm going to message you back and see about getting you a copy of Get Wealthed Up, which is a book I wrote that talks about a lot of the whys and hows. I think it's entertaining and it's written at like a level that is very, it's very casual. So it's very easy to absorb. And then I'm happy to send you guys a copy one way or another, digital, audio, physical copy. Yeah. What else, Shay?
And again, like this for me is about taking action, right? So many people buy the course, they don't do the course. They'll listen to a podcast and they're like, rah, 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 and then they don't put into action. one of the action steps you can do today that, Donny, you've been very generous to say that not only can you rewrite your financial family's story for the future and generations to come, but you're giving them an opportunity to do that complimentary by having a Zoom call with you.
Absolutely. So if you are a fan of Wealthy CEO, in a DM, or you can visit me at wealthup.com.
Yep.
There's a link, right? I'll put it in there, make sure that it's there for you.
Yeah.
Wealthy CEO guests, let's have a 20-minute Zoom chat.
Yeah.
If you're cool with that and you want to be open, I'm willing to listen. I'm willing to understand where you're at and see if there's an opportunity for you to get out ahead.
And I love that because you don't need to be rich to start. I always say you just need to actually start and have the right strategy and guidance, and it can change your world. So this is, I have what's called at the end, I ask every guest the same question. It's the wealth drop, kind of like the mic drop. When you think of one piece of wealth wisdom that you'd want to pass down to the next generation, what would you say?
Money is an and thing. Okay, money is a tool that is used to achieve whatever you want in life, but it's an and thing. You can make money and spend money.
Right.
And we've been trained that when you have money, you spend it and it's gone. And that's not true.
Right.
We can create a scenario where when you do something bad, which is spending, you could also match it with something good so that you're putting into good first and spending the bad money.
Right.
It's a different way of seeing a relationship with money.
Yeah.
Yeah. To achieve the life that you want.
I agree.
And go do things and go travel.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
So every guest that comes on, they don't know who I'm going to be speaking with next, but they leave you a question. So the person that came on before you left you this question without knowing it was going to be you.
Okay.
Kind of. Sorry. That's okay. Kind of like from one CO to another, if you will. And so the question for you is, what was the moment when you decided to go all in, and what did it take for you to go all in?
The moment was the scenario we described earlier when I was an employee turned entrepreneur, when I saw someone lose their job in front of me, and how devastating it made me feel for this guy who I didn't know.
Yeah.
And I didn't want that kind of power ever to live in the hands of somebody else. I wanted to be in charge of my own destiny.
Yeah. Which, that's what the embodiment of what freedom is. And that's what I like. And that's at the core. Actually, you probably don't know this, but my podcast was called The Freedom CEO. And I just more recently relaunched The Wealthy CEO. But freedom is that ability to have choice and to be able to make choices however you want, whenever you want, and not be restricted by it. So
I completely agree. So that's what it is. It's money buys freedom because money buys you choice.
Yeah.
And it's in that little spot right there. Like you could choose to work or not work. If you have enough money in the future, if you want to work, keep going. You love it, fantastic. Yeah. But wouldn't it be nice to have the choice to decide if you're taking that appointment? Yeah. Or if you're going to go for that trek? Like you have options when you have choice, when you have money. Yeah. So that's it. So for that part of it.
Yeah. Donny, this has been so good. Like so I'm going to actually say, if you are like loving this episode, I would love for you to DM either of us to just share like what landed, because I think this is one of the most powerful conversations to be having that's not being had enough. So thank you for your time and coming on today.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
If you love this episode, take a screenshot right now and tag both of us on Instagram and share your biggest takeaway. I would love to know what you're taking action on after listening to this episode. And if you want to connect with Donny, learn more about the Money Mansion strategy, or grab his book for free, DM either of us, Money Mansion, to get your copy. And as always, make sure you hit subscribe, leave a 5-star review, and share this with a parent or a friend who needs to hear it. Until next time, remember that wealth building isn't just about money. It's about freedom, choices, and the legacy you're leaving behind. If something in today's episode resonated with you or sparked a shift, tag me on IG or send me a DM. I genuinely love hearing what lands for you. And if it spoke to you, share it or leave a quick review. It helps more women find this show and step into their own wealthy era. Until next time,
lead with purpose, live with intention, and stay wealthy.